Every day I'm hustling, 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 every day I'm hustling.
Hello and welcome. You are listening to the Hustle Points NBA show. I am your favorite kidney stone who's single and ready to mingle, Rudy St. Clair. And joining me today is my boy Mike from the Dish the Rock podcast. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing all right, except for what happened last night, which we'll get to later. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm a little groggy, as you know. I ain't slept much because I've been celebrating, been having a good time, really embracing the almost Grand Slam home run, what the fuck ever, of getting the number one pick. That didn't quite happen for us, but I will gladly take number two. So today we're going to be going over basically reacting to the lottery. Both of our teams, the Memphis Grizzlies and the Chicago Bulls, had a lot at stake in this, but ultimately it is New Orleans that wins the Zion sweepstakes. What's your temperature on everything right now? Are you freaking grieving? Are you numb? How are you? Are you okay?
I'm not okay. I'm like really sad. Like I was thinking, we might not get the number one overall pick, but we should get at least top 4, top 3, maybe even second pick. I was just ready to have top 5 at the very least, and then flips the sign off Chicago Bulls. I'm watching the Bully Pulpit podcast, and their stream was 3 or 4 picks behind. And so I'm looking at them, waiting for their reaction. I hear the 9th pick. I'm like, oh, they're behind. And I'm over here freaking out and so upset.
Oh, man. Yeah, I was at the Fast Break Breakfast watch party up in Nashville. Had a pretty good time there. And the 20 or so people that showed up to that were all absolutely elated and jubilant to get the second overall pick. As I can't imagine what it would have been like to be at a Bulls lottery party, where I honestly feel like probably over half of the community, just from what I can tell, was really putting a lot of stock in the Zion sweepstakes, trying to get some hope there. What pick did you guys end up getting? I honestly don't even know.
We got the 7th for the 3rd year in a row. I mean, technically it's the 2nd we got in the lottery, but the year before that, we traded for that pick with Jimmy Butler and Lauri Markkanen.
Mm-hmm.
But we've had 7, 7, 7.
Hey, that's lucky. I mean, y'all have been
Jesus.
You're set up well for future draft lotteries with 3 consecutive 7s like that. If you're the superstitious type, or just the gambling type, I suppose, if you like the slots. But I mean, that's what the lottery's about. It's all about playing the odds. Honestly, I'm as happy as I am to get the number 2 overall pick. In the moment, it really just felt like a dick tease more than anything else. I felt like I was edging because I almost got there. It was really great, but it could have been better. And I know it could have been better. I know exactly how it could have been better. But it's just I'm eager to get a point guard or RJ Barrett. I'm happy to have a potential extra valuable asset to attach to Mike Conley potentially in a future trade, but I don't really see that as a likely scenario because, I mean, if you're going to trade away a draft pick and a veteran talent, what do you really expect to get in return? Are you going to go for more better veteran talent? I don't think so. Are you going to go for more younger, better assets? You already have the number 2 pick, so it really feel like a compromise to do that sort of thing, but I could still see it as a possibility.
Yeah, I could definitely see you guys doing that. I don't want you guys to trade Conley, though. I don't want that to happen. I love Conley on the Grizzlies.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he has a shot to be one of those few Dirk types that plays his whole damn career in one spot. But, I mean, he deserves a chance to win, I think. I mean, the closest he's ever gotten is getting swept in the Western Conference Finals. And, we just pulled the plug out from that basically as soon as it happened afterwards, fired the coach. Did the whole 9. Yeah. But what is your best outcome for having the 7th pick? Just intuitively, who's the guy that you want to go after? What's the trade that you want to happen? What's a what's your deepest desire now that you know the reality of the
Well,
lottery?
I know a lot of Bulls fans are wanting to trade that pick for Lonzo, and
Hmm.
other people want Darius Garland or Kobe White. But this player, uh, Cam Reddish, I wanted him the entire time. He was the one player I wanted besides Zion. It went like Zion, Cam, and then after that, I was kind of cool with most of like the top five.
Hmm.
But if we can land Cam Reddish, I think that's going to be perfect. And most people don't agree with me though. But I could see this Lonzo trade being a good idea, but I'd rather take Cam Reddish.
Yeah, Cam Reddish has been one of the more polarizing prospects. Not that I'm deep into draft Twitter or anything like that, but from what I can tell, my little pulse on it, Cam Reddish is basically a super big hit or miss type guy. It's like he's either going to be, you know, I know this isn't exactly a very observant or intuitive take, but the odds of him being a bust or being just an average guy, a 3-and-D athlete who can be an NBA player, but that's about it. Not exactly a fundamental building block. I feel like the odds of something like that happening are much higher than of him being an all-star or even a superstar. I don't see a Cam Reddish as like a fourth option on a championship team, but maybe at his best, that's it. That is what he could be.
I could definitely see that. The reason why I wanted him so bad is because even though it wasn't like the best year he could have had at Duke, it was still a solid season. And with him being the third scoring option and at times the fourth or the fifth,
Mm-hmm.
that seems perfect to me to put behind Lauri Markkanen and Zach LaVine because right now there are two go-to guys. And with Otto Porter coming in being a go-to guy, I think we could slide Otto to the 2, Zach to the 1, and put Cam at the 3. That's a tall lineup, but I think it'd still work out because Cam, I think he's like 6'8" or 6'9".
Oh yeah, definitely. Plus, if you could get any sort of distribution, playmaking ability added to Otto Porter's game over the course of his career as a Bull, he would definitely be like a quiet Lamar Odom type. You could afford that. Now I'm not saying he has like a history of being a phenomenal ball handler playmaker, but I think he has that in his game potentially. Should he choose to develop it, or should the organization around him choose to make him develop it? Now Zach, I feel like when I watch him, that he's a lot more of like a Westbrook-esque like power guard, like a guy who just his whole job is to charge at the rim or to take shots or to kick it out after he charges to the rim, which is still like very point guard-y, but if you want it to be like the floor general leader on the floor, does it all for everybody type of CP3 type, prototypical point guard, I'm not sure Zach is that. So if I were you guys, I would be happier with like a Culver or I'm not super big on Ja or Garland. I know that the Grizzlies are likely to end up with Ja at number 2, and I'm content with that. But I think if you guys ended up with Ja, Culver, Garland, that would be a real grand slam for building up your future. I think it'd be a little bit more balanced than throwing another wing in there. But honestly, positions matter so little now that you could be like the 76ers and have 5 centers on the floor and pretend one's a point guard.
I really like Darius Garland too. Like I liked him before he right as he was in the McDonald's All-American. Yeah, so I kind of started looking at him because I'm a Florida Gators fan. I talked about this on Bullies podcast too. And so he's going to Vanderbilt, and that's also an SEC team.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of looked at him like, okay, that's a rival, but I like this guy a lot. I like the way he plays. And after that injury, I was kind of upset about it because I was excited to see him play and go to the tournament potentially. But it looks like he's bulked up now, and he could definitely be a good distributor, I think. But I also love Chris Dunn, and this is what's hurting me is I think either he's getting traded or he's going to be moved to the bench after this draft. And that sucks because I've always really liked him. Ever since in his rookie season, he threw the ball around. I forget who it was. And I think he either missed the layup or he just dished it out when he was on the Timberwolves. And it was just such a cool dribble move. And I always liked him from that. And I was so happy when we got him in the trade with Zach LaVine.
Yeah, Chris Dunn's definitely one of those dudes that has a lot of upside. Like I feel like he's Brandon Knight without all the bad luck. Because Brandon Knight was like a really touted prospect. There was talk in that draft class. I'm not sure if you remember, but there was a season where people were talking about the Cavaliers selecting Brandon Knight over Kyrie. And
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, like he had a lot of potential. I see a lot of like a similar body shape and size, like you're 6'3" to 6'4", but long ass arms and kind of built well, wide shoulders type of frame. Super modern NBA player, as far as just the physical aspects of it all. But as far as I understand Chris Dunn, defensively, he's at least like a consistent B plus. At times he looks like an A. But on offense, he just hasn't really put it together as far as I understand it. I'm not on the Bulls' pulse as much as you, of course. So do you think that Chris Dunn really stands a chance to put it together, rather it be on the bench of the Bulls or maybe somewhere else if he does get traded?
I could definitely see it because in his second season when we got him, he was actually given, that was technically his rookie year to me. It wasn't, he played enough games the rookie season to not be considered a rookie, but Tom Thibodeau did not give him like the chances that we did. And when he was the main person on the floor, like the go-to shooting guy, go-to scorer, he definitely showed up. He was clutch. He was amazing on the defensive end. He's athletic. His jump shot was all right, but when we needed three, he was one of the guys we could have gone to if we had to.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it was an off year because at the beginning of the season, he missed a couple weeks from having a kid. And after him falling on his face last year and busting his teeth, he kind of wasn't the same. But I think he can definitely bounce back.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, honestly, if you guys wanted to trade the 7th pick and Chris Dunn and maybe give us those freaking Wayne Selden second-round picks back, I would be pretty damn happy with that.
Forgot about that trade.
Yeah, Rusty broke it down so perfectly. Rusty Buckets, of course. He is basically y'all got the better player and draft picks, and it doesn't make any sense. Like,
yeah, but you got Just Holla.
oh man, he did so good in the last week of the season when nobody was trying.
I love Justin Holiday, but I was upset when he got traded from us to New York with Derrick Rose, and I was happy when he came back. Then he kind of just was there.
Yeah, I'm sure he didn't exactly grieve his loss when he was traded to the Grizz, considering the package he got in return.
I love Selden. Like, he's one of those guys I hope we can bring back next year because he was just, like, so fun to watch. He was definitely a grit and grind type guy.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't really find anybody in the Grizzlies community who is as pro Selden as I was. Maybe it's just because Wayne Selden Jr. is just one of those players that's left over from the era in my life where I made tons of 2K draft classes and rosters and stuff and uploaded it and all that. And Wayne Selden was consistently one of those dudes that was potential was just way too fucking high. He'd always end up fucking owning the league. And it's like, all right, so Wayne Selden's good apparently. Someone on 2K gave him a high rating. Some guy like me who uploads draft classes for fun thinks he's good. He'll probably be good.
He's definitely solid. He's a solid player. Like he's a guy you could definitely want on your bench squad.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's a fearless shooter, and he no one else in the Grizz is a fearless shooter. Justin Holiday isn't exactly your Courtney Lee type where he's gonna get his 4 shots a night no matter what. Like he'll take them, but not as aggressively as Wayne Selden and Courtney Lee did back in the day. I miss Courtney Lee. I miss a lot of Grizz. I'm looking at this
that you do.
Barely relevant tangent here. I'm looking at this lunchbox I got at the watch party. It's super nice. You should definitely try going to a watch party if they give away things, because I probably would have paid like $20 for this on eBay. I got it for just the price of driving a few hours and back, and the rest of the night then. So it has Grizz the mascot on one side, and then I'm not sure how deep into Grizz lore you are, but on the other side it's his alter ego, Super Grizz, which is yeah. So I got a Super Grizz lunchbox from the Fast Break Breakfast watch party. The only reason I brought it up is because it was there, and not really actually as relevant as I thought it was. Oh man, did you so you just stayed at home and watched the lottery party stream and watched the actual event, I guess, on your own TV or whatever?
Yeah, I kind of just chilled at my house and watched it. Like I put on my Derrick Rose jersey to give us number one pick luck. Got my Bulls hat on, holding my D Rose twos, just so ready, and then it just happened, and I was awestruck.
And so you got the 7th pick. You're wearing your number one D Rose jersey. I think I heard a number 2 in there somehow.
Yeah, the D Rose twos.
Okay,
I have like the Christmas Day game against the Lakers where he hit that floater over Kobe. I have those shoes.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome. See, I'm trying to think of a fucking psychotic way to arrive at the number 7, based on all of the lucky things that you did and directly blame it on you. Similar to how I blame myself for getting the number 2 pick for wearing 2 Chandler Parsons jerseys, while also blaming myself for not getting the number 1 pick for not only wearing 1. So the way you see, you got 2 shoes that are the Derrick Rose 2s. That's 4 somehow, because each shoe is a 2, and then you had your 1. No, it's not there. It's not there. Can't do it. The math doesn't add up. I guess it's not your fault, so don't feel too bad.
I feel pretty bad because I didn't want to put on my Rose jersey. I asked this Bulls group chat, should I put my Rose jersey and like put on as much as possible? I'm just gonna wear the hat and the jersey and hold the shoes.
Oh, see, that's what it is. The hat. The hat's what did it.
Yeah.
If you would have only worn the jersey and the shoes, you would have been good. You would have been in the top 4 easily.
Definitely.
Everything the fans do both at home and in the stadium has a direct impact on the outcome of the game.
100%. This is a little tangent. I went to the Magic Bulls game when they were in Orlando like a month or 2 ago, and DJ Augustine, I think he had 2 or 3 free throws, and me yelling because I was right behind the basket. Every time I yelled, he missed the free throw. So I'm taking credit for him missing the free throws and us winning that game.
I had a similar experience, secondhand, not firsthand. I wasn't the one yelling. But it was my first Grizz game I ever went to with my dad, a million fucking years ago. And we were sitting in like the mid-level, like it's technically called the club, but it's not that fucking fancy, just the mid-tier. And the way that was set up, the Grizzlies were like a 20-something win team at the time, had been for a while. I believe it was when Rudy Gay was there. And so naturally this crowd wasn't really very filled. Stadium probably fills 15 to 20,000, I guess. I don't know FedEx's capacity off top, but there's no way it was even at 40%. And so in my little section, there was probably 3 other people. There's, a man and then a couple behind us. The man was by himself and a couple seats over to our right. And whenever the opponent was at the free throw line, it was the Nuggets, the Nene and Chauncey Billups, Carmelo, J.R. Smith Nuggets. That team.
Damn, that was a nice team.
I was actually going to see that team. That was my team at the time. Grizzlies were just the closest team. But every time they're at the line, this dude would just lose his shit, like right at the release point. And I think the only dude it got to, surprisingly, was Nene. And
scariest dude on the court.
Yeah, really. Like the man who will choke you and, do some judo, whatever the Brazilian martial art is.
Headbutt you like he did with Jimmy.
God, did you see that clip that went viral from the Warrior series of him just throwing some dude to the ground instead of boxing him out?
Yeah.
God. I love Nene, man. He's one of a kind. I mean, he only has one name.
So 2K too, because you just have to get so close to the basket. He just makes almost everything.
Yeah, man. He was like the original like NBA blog boy, like overhyped dude. Like how everybody loves Pascal Siakam just because like Zach Lowe loves Pascal Siakam now. Nene was that guy like 10 years ago.
Yeah. Like early on, everybody thought he had like so much potential. He was like Kenneth Faried. Before Kenneth Faried.
Yeah, man. I miss Kenneth Faried being really fucking good.
So do I.
He had like
just hyped up dreadlock dudes.
Yeah, he just jumped as high as he could every time he could. Like he wasn't a great defender, but like he looked like it 20% of the time because he was trying so hard.
Got up there.
Oh man, you I know the Grizzlies have a couple guys who are like, Kenneth Faried's in Nene's clothing, if you will. Y'all got any guys who are fucking fake good? You got any guys that you wish you would attach to the seventh pick or anything like that, just to get them off your team, like the Chandler Parsons of the world?
I'll give I love all my players because I'm not one of those guys who like hate on a player that's on my team because they're my team. I'm going to support everybody. I want everybody to do good. But Felicio,
That's the
that
one.
Contract, man, is just tough.
Hey man, it's only like a third of Chandler Parsons, so I'm sure we could work something out. Isn't it longer term too? Like you got like 2 or 3 more years or something?
Yep.
Yeah.
See, I don't know why we did that.
Chandler is finally adding some value to the franchise in his 4th and final season by becoming a large expiring contract. So, if the Lakers suddenly decide that they want to get off LeBron, they can just trade him for Chandler Parsons and be off the money the next year, which would be nice. LeBron could finally come to Memphis like he was really supposed to before the NBA stuck their little fingers in the lottery like they always do. The lottery's rigged, man. I don't care what anyone says. If it's not like completely rigged every single pick, then they at least control who gets the important picks. Like, I think it was a lock that the Lakers were going to get Lonzo at the 2 spot. I think it was a lock that the NBA-owned Pelicans were going to get the number 1 spot in the AD days. And you know what? It was probably a fucking lock that the David Griffin ran, a.k.a. former NBA employee, kind of golden boy of the front office image, lucked his way into getting another number 1 pick for this franchise that really needs some hype behind it. Otherwise, it legitimately risks dying the fuck out. And there's too many things. Like the Patrick Ewing thing way back, the first draft lottery was rigged. They've all been rigged since. You can't convince me otherwise. I'm open to it, but as of this moment, it would take a very ironclad argument to convince me that the lottery, which happens behind closed doors, and they just show us the results,
Yeah.
There's got to be something shady going on there. That's why I did not think even a little bit that the Pelicans were going to get it. I thought Zion would just go to one of the 4 biggest markets: Chicago, Atlanta, New York, or LA. And so when Memphis and New Orleans were both in the running at the end, I started losing my fucking marbles.
Yeah, I saw on that video.
Yeah. So I'm sorry y'all couldn't quite land Zion, but I still think 7 is okay. I know it's not a thick draft class, not exactly the most dense, but
yeah,
y'all got Laurie at 7.
Yeah, Wendell. Wendell was very slept on because he got hurt, but that's the Black Panther.
I feel like that's like the blog boy young center, like the hip young big man to invest in, to buy stock in now, because he hasn't quite had any opportunities to shine, but everyone who watches him play has seen his potential.
Yeah. I've been called crazy for this, and I stand by this 100%. If Marvin Bagley did not go to Duke and kind of overshadow Wendell would have been a top 3 pick. 100%. That's how talented he was coming out of high school and how big of an impact he would have on that Duke team. It was just him without Marvin, definitely top 3 pick.
Yeah, shoot. It's crazy how dudes can look in college. Like, this, again, not exactly a very original observation, but it blows my mind every fucking time that a guy like Andrew Wiggins and Jabari Parker, the number 1 and number 2 overall picks, mega fucking hype out of high school for years, going to big major programs in college and having reasonable enough success to get drafted that high, can just basically fucking flop in the league. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, you'd think that with all the money involved, the amount of fucking dudes that are keeping their eyes on talent and trying to decide who's good and who's not, that we would figure this shit out and not draft Hashim to beat 2nd overall. Like, how does it just keep happening? I don't understand bust.
I mean, that's how I kind of felt with this past college class because looking at the McDonald's All Americans, not like the recent one, but the one with Zion in it,
Mm-hmm.
there was so much like talent. I know it's McDonald's is all talent, but like Nasir Little, Romeo Langford, I think Tyler Hero was, and if he wasn't, he was still a top player in his class. But then like, and EJ Montgomery, I think it's EJ, who just completely sucked at Kentucky. And this year, Little was like on the bench, and like Kobe White was really hyped up, but like they were all supposed to be like top tier. And like Nasir Little, I think rode the bench for a while. So it's just crazy how like talent in each like level of basketball completely differentiates.
Yeah, man. It's like I feel like even within the scope of just the NBA, there's like this weird Goldilocks zone of effort and energy where you get your DeMar DeRozans and Kyle Lowrys, where they hustle hard enough and are good enough to be all stars in the regular season, but ultimately, like that kind of gives away your, you're showing your cards already when you go into the playoffs, when you max out your game in the regular season like that, and it ends up just, oh yeah, they're good regular season players. They're good 82 game players, bad 16 game players. It's just wild to me that it's even that competitive. I guess that's the best part of the NBA is that like if you're not the best of the best, we will all fucking know. It's hard to be a fraud in the NBA.
The Raptors.
Oh yeah, man. The difference between the Kawhi Raptors and the DeMar Raptors is fucking stellar.
Yeah. I just love that duo of Kyle and DeMar the past couple years. Like they were like a secret team I would root for, unless when they played the Bulls. Like I was like, yeah, I fucking love DeMar. I love Kyle. Love that team. And I was sad when DeMar got traded. And I felt hurt too. I was hurting with the Toronto fans.
Oh yeah. Plus DeMar is like just a super cool dude with like his openness about, suffering and dealing with depression and stuff like that. Mental health awareness, his role in the league, that definitely adds another layer to his depth of character that I can really appreciate. And plus, the whole mid-range game thing. I don't know if you saw this exchange on Twitter, but this ex-pro scout goes by Brian O'Ringer, if I remember correctly. Yeah, his name's Brian O'Ringer. Yeah, he makes YouTube videos now. And he was basically defending the mid-range, and he did it in like a super passive-aggressive way, quote tweeting Damon, Damon the Raps in LA guy,
yeah,
talking about DeMar, and it was a pretty nuanced take. It wasn't even like a buzzy thing, but he screen capped it, didn't mention him, and then just basically expressed how he was so jealous of how such a dumb tweet can get such a positive ratio, like
about them Twitter ratios.
Yeah, man, he's a big fucking dweeb. Big fucking dweeb. Chuck from Fast Break ended up just being like, you could at least mention him. The whole little mini beef ensued in the comments there. It's quite entertaining. I love NBA Twitter. It's like a Real Housewives, but grown ass men on their phones.
Yeah, that like most of them can't make left hand layups.
Right. They'll criticize Ben Simmons for never shooting a fucking jump shot when Ben Simmons has definitely taken more jump shots than they have even considered taking.
Like I'm one of those people that does play basketball, and I can make some left-hand layups, but like if you tell me I need you to make a left-hand layup for the game, it's like 60-40 or maybe 70-30 that I'll miss.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like my left hand is just shit.
It's like because me and you are normal ass dudes. I don't know about you, but I'm fucking short.
I'm 5'10".
See, you got a few inches on me. You're average. I'm average for a lady. I'm 5.5 feet tall.
That's cute.
Yeah, I've been told that. I said this on Twitter. Rusty told me I must just have nice friends, but I'm just short enough to feel short when I look at pictures and stuff like that, but not so short to be constantly reminded of how short I am. It's like I gotta reach up high for something. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I'm a tiny little manlet. I forgot. Let me get my stepladder.
I mean, a lot of times I'm the smallest guy on the court, especially like last year when I really was playing really well. And then I started like doing college stuff and I gained weight and I got really sick and I busted my ankle. And now I weigh like a lot more than I did, but I'm still like fit. But it's like you can definitely see that I've gained weight.
Yeah. It's like you won't get winded going up the stairs, but you could play 20% less minutes on the court.
Oh yeah, like it all depends on momentum too, because I'm one of those momentum guys.
You're a streaky guy at the YMCA.
Definitely. Like there's games where like I won't make a single shot, and there's games where I'll score all 21 for my team.
See, I feel like I've privately been developing my game, ever since a young age, and it's still absolutely nowhere. Like I didn't come from like a basketball family. I didn't like grow up loving basketball. It was sort of a late love affair for me. It was always like a tertiary sport, something on the outside of what I was really interested in. Just the other thing that came up on ESPN that seemed kind of interesting, and dunk highlights are cool, but it's the best sport for moments, and so naturally that moment after moment eventually just fucking captivated me. But in middle school, me and my boy, who actually came to me to that watch party, would go and shoot hoops after school till the sun goes down every fucking day after school. So 5 days a week, 2 hours a day. I did not know how to take a goddamn jumper for the first 2 out of 3 of those years. Like I worked religiously on trying to figure out what form was comfortable and effective for me, because I started off shooting like a slow Sean Marion, just from the chest, like just chest pass it at the fucking backboard and hope it bounces in. Now I got a sweet little hip turn. I line up my hip and my elbow. I follow through. I do everything right, and it goes in probably 1 out of 5 times. So I'm pretty happy with that.
It's still solid.
Yeah, I mean I'm not in the NBA. I have no one to impress but myself. So as long as I'm okay. Now, what I usually do when I go and hoop is I'll just take the ball and try dribbling with my left hand for about 30 minutes and run around doing as much left-handed stuff as I can. Because I feel like if you're playing 21 or, just a quick game of pickup, whatever, 5-on-5, 3-on-3, whatever, no one expects you to go to your offhand ever.
Definitely.
So.
And they call you out about it too. They're like, oh, force him left. All right. Break it.
Yeah. I got a mean sky hook though. I got that down packed.
My grandfather wants me to do that because from like elementary school to like late 6th grade, I was the biggest pussy kid. I was not into sports at all, really. I wanted to play tennis or golf. And then the first day of 7th grade, middle school, in the gym, I was just shooting threes with like a big group of random ass people. I'm like, this is kind of fun. Trying out for the basketball team was shit. And like I've progressively gotten better, except for this past year where I've kind of just hit like a wall because of junior year's shit.
Yeah.
But like I can definitely hold my own on the court. There are days where I remember last summer. This is just a little stupid story. And it was the day before I went on vacation with my family. I bought a new basketball. Me and my best friend played in the afternoon, like 12 to like 2. I played like shit. And I was frustrated because I'm really passionate about it. Sometimes I get too passionate. I'll talk shit to you so much at just a pickup game. And I went home, thought about it. I'm like, I'm going to go back and just shoot around. I want to pick up back where I left off and just do well. And I get there and I'm all alone. I record myself shooting a few shots. I like record myself hitting a fadeaway and making some layups. And then this kid who works with this local trainer and his dad show up and like, you want to play 21? I'm like, yeah, sure. But today's an off day. So like, just know I'm not this ass. And I like cook them. Like I do these.
You hustled them. You did them dirty.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I'm sorry I said that. Like, because I was hitting like fadeaway threes with them hitting my arms, and I couldn't believe it. And
You
the
call it
dude
and
goes,
ones and shit.
"Are you from the EuroLeague?" I'm like, "What? You kidding?" He's like, "No, I swear I've seen you." I'm like, "No, I live over there."
It's
And
like,
like I couldn't believe it. And people don't believe me when I say they asked me that, but they did. And I was just like so awestruck because I'm like, damn, like there are days where I won't make a single shot in a game, and I just fucked these two people massively.
hmm it's one of those moments where it's just like beautifully analogous to just not sports, real life. You know what I mean? That's just how fucking it goes sometimes, you know? Some days you don't make any shots, just fucking cuz. And other days you catch on fire, just fucking cuz. Especially when you don't expect it to, you know? That's my favorite thing about anything sports, but especially basketball, is that it just can become a beautiful little metaphor for real fucking life. Things that matter more
Yeah.
than basketball. Like coping with fucking existence.
Like one day I'll be able to hit some reverse layups, the next day I'll hit the bottom of the backboard.
Yep. That's how it fucking goes, man. How it fucking goes.
Yeah.
Did you ever end up going to school with like someone who ended up being like a fucking actual basketball player, some shit like that? That's
Nah, but I remember when I was in seventh grade, there was this kid. I think his name was Ronaldo Ross, and he was like really tall, and I think he got held back a few times. And I remember I was at one of the basketball games, and he dunked it. And he's in eighth grade, and it was like in the school newspaper, first kid to ever dunk in our middle school's history in game. And I remember I had gym with him, and I just like see him like grabbing the rim, like I just started touching net a year ago.
Dude, it's crazy how that guy, you know, the man who makes the papers in eighth grade in your hometown or whatever, is still statistically like very, 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 very unlikely to ever be a pro baller.
Mhm.
You know, I remember growing up, my best friend, his name was Josh. He was my best friend probably like fourth through sixth grade. And the man idolized Kobe Bryant. He played basketball religiously. His dad was the coach in my upward league. Like he was ball is life, you know, before it was super fucking hip for ball to be life. And I was convinced, you know, he was a growth spurt away from just, you know, doing something with fucking basketball. But no, he never even came close. Like he probably had the best jump shot out of anyone in our high school, but like that's about as far as that will get you. It's just fucking insane to me that you got dudes like fucking Cam Reddish and your fucking Siakams and Embiids who, you know, come from fucking nothing essentially. Your Giannis's, and they just end up grinding their way to the fucking league. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it. I love the NBA. Everything about it. The lottery, the draft, the teams of players, some of the owners, I guess. I think we're about to the point where we're gonna see more of the good old boy network that's controlled the league for so long to subtly be phased out. You know what I mean? Like Sterling was big and loud, but I feel like some more quiet changes have happened, you know, in front offices and in their terms of like how they approach things. Grizzlies and Bulls are definitely two that this doesn't apply to. They're still very much good old boy organizations. You know, we didn't have the balls to fire our fucking GM or our president of basketball operations, whatever the fuck the job is actually called, Chris Wallace. We just gave him a demotion. You know, he runs our scouting department now, even though probably his biggest failures in being the Pobo is that he doesn't draft well. You know, we gave him the scouting department instead of just saying, hey, go find another job. Because that's just how this shit works. When you get comfortable with people and you can control them as the owner, you'll keep the guys you can control in power. God damn. Y'all got Garpax? Exactly. Fucking Garpax, man. Are you pro Garpax or anti Garpax? I've never asked, I don't think.
You know, I used to be one of those people. Like every day I find like more basketball knowledge. I feel like I get more basketball knowledge. Like now, I see like different angles. I'm very open minded in life and basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Almost burped. And
That's
they've
accepted
done a
in this
lot
day,
of good moves that people like overlook because we're spoiled. The Bulls are very spoiled at times because we had Michael Jordan and Derrick Rose, and like the Jimmy Butler trade was amazing for us. But there are some like minor trades in the middle that like and like signings in the middle that are kind of just like, what the fuck, man. But we do have our big like, okay, that's solid, that's really good, but people won't admit it because they just want to fire him. And I'm pretty sure Rusty touched on this where he said it's mainly Gar Foreman who's been fucking us, and Paxton's been the one saving us. And like I think Gar got like demoted, and so it's mainly been like Paxton making decisions. And I just love watching basketball. Whatever they do, I'm not gonna quit it on the team. I'm still gonna love the team, even if it pisses me off seeing us lose by like 50 to the Warriors at halftime. But what happens happens. I'll support them, whatever move they do. Like I almost cried when Bobby Portis got traded. I'm not even gonna lie, because I loved Bobby Portis, but it happens. I'm happy with Otto. Definitely an upgrade.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm in the middle of Garpax.
Gotcha. You don't want to throw a bona fide label on yourself like hashtag fire Garpax or whatever. So some people just fucking wear their basketball ideas and just like adopt them into their personality and make them no longer ideas. Don't keep an open mind when you do that shit. You become an ideologue. And it's just basketball.
Oh, we lost that game. Fucking Garpax. Like, nah, dude.
I feel like so many dudes will just watch like maybe 2 games a year and then just ride with the takeaways from the feelings that they have from those 2 games. And just assume it as, ultimate truth.
Mm-hmm. This year, one of my friends let me use his League Pass, and I wanted to watch every single Bulls game on League Pass this year. I didn't do that, but I think I went like 30 games straight of watching every single League Pass game for the Bulls.
Hell yeah.
And, it definitely opened my eyes about this team and how excited I am for the future as long as it pans out the way I hope it will.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely going to prioritize watching full-blown Grizz games this upcoming season. The way I approach consuming the NBA, I feel like this is almost sort of like a taboo subject to talk about in our little niche industry here that we're trying to tap our way into. How we consume the content. But I watch a lot of recaps. I watch maybe a game a week, maybe 3 a month, more like it, But a lot of that has to do with me not having fucking cable because that shit's fucking expensive. I mean, I just use Reddit. I've been told that the Reddit experience is fucking better than the League Pass experience. But I don't know. The pop-up ads on my TV get real annoying sometimes.
I bet. League Pass is kind of slow sometimes. Like, I'll be watching on my laptop or, like, on my phone, and then I'll get, like, a notification from ESPN, like, buzzer beater. I'm like, damn, I'm still 5 seconds off. It's like it just ruins momentum.
Yeah, man.
Before the Hawks Bulls overtime game, I was like, oh, are we going to go into overtime again? End of second overtime. Yep, we are.
Yeah, goddamn. I wonder how many like sports or NBA journalists specifically that are so committed to being on top of things that they make sure that they have all of the fastest technology. You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty sure satellite's gonna take a full 30 seconds longer than cable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wonder if like Zach Lowe and Woj are like really thinking about that shit when they're signing up for their cable packages or whatever. Oh man. Well, you have any final thoughts on the lottery or the Bulls or the Grizz or anything at all really? Life in general? You want to take a stance on some controversial political topic that's in vogue right now?
I want to say this since you're a Grizzlies fan. I was so excited to see Jaren Jackson Jr. in the league because he's a guy that to me looks like he can do literally everything on the floor.
Oh yeah.
Like I wanted him so bad if he fell to the Bulls, but I knew he wasn't gonna. He just seems like he can do everything.
Yeah, man. I see Jaren as like definitely a building block, but I don't want Jaren to be the best player on our roster for more than a couple years at any given point in time. I feel like he's probably the second best player on a pretty damn good team. You know what I mean? If it's a well constructed team. But I
Mhm.
think if he's like the third option, like a like sort of like a Draymond-esque role, except I think he's a lot more versatile offensively than Draymond eventually.
Yeah.
You know, like Draymond sort of shoehorns himself into a certain niche on offense. But I think Jaren has a little bit more potential than that. Defensively, he's already a fucking A, you know, on the NBA
Yeah.
scale, and he's only 19. It's not to sound like a Bostonian, I'm not Bill Simmons, but
He's only 19.
and he will forever only be 19. When
That's
will
it.
Jason Tatum turn 20? Oh man, but he's only 19, Triple J, of course. And I think if we could get him to be the third best player on the team by the time he's 29, you know, in his third contract, that would be fucking fantastic. If we could, you know, finish out the rookie deal, not let him walk away in restricted free agency, and then manage to fucking max him out after that. That would be the ideal Jaren Jackson Jr. Grizzlies through line for me, is for him to be a necessary component on a damn good team, just not the best player.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see him as like a top player in the league, just because like his size and like the way he looks like he plays from like college and stuff too. Just he looked like he'd be so dominant. Because I don't really see a flaw in his game, but I didn't really watch a lot of Grizzlies games.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how a new coach handles him, because JBB has no real clue how to handle young talent and rotations. Like, he's one of those guys that's going to stick to the veterans. He knows, you know, we kept fucking Shelvin Mack in the lineup for months. Yeah, Shelvin Mack over Wayne Selden for months and months and months. And eventually we traded Shelvin Mack just so that the Hawks could clear up some cap space or something like that, basically.
Yeah.
We took a young, I think his name's Tyler Dorsey. We took him off their hands, and he was clearly better than Shelvin Mack upon arrival. And then he still struggled to get minutes until the absolute end of the season, where it's like, well, fuck it, everyone's getting minutes.
Yeah, give everybody some playing time.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, JBB's in Cleveland now, so I'm curious to see how much he's going to stunt the growth of youth in that city. Y'all are lucky you didn't end up with him on your staff. How do you feel about Boylan? How do you feel about Boylan? Because I don't even have a head coach to bitch about right now. Y'all got Boylan at least for the next 2 years, if I'm not mistaken.
You know, I was wary of him at first. And I'm like, all right, he's just a little rental coach till we get somebody good. But he's very passionate, and I love that in a coach. I want a coach that's passionate about the players. He said that Wendell's like a son to him. Mm-hmm. And he's defensive minded, which I love, because before I had a solid offensive game, I just stole the ball a lot and played lock-up defense.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm one of those people that definitely hopes he does well, and I think he will do well, especially with this type of like this roster that's young. And although it's not strong defensively, I feel like he can make it strong defensively, because Zach definitely jumped in defense, and the players now respect him. Like, since that mutiny that happened, like the beginning of the season, where everybody was like, "Fuck off, Boylan."
Yeah, man.
Team.
Please stop making us do suicides. Signed the whole roster.
A long practice after back-to-backs. But I think this team definitely respects him now, and I think Bulls fans should give him more credit on what's going to happen in the future than we probably will.
Plus, like, if he could actually implement, a Thibodeau-esque culture of toughness and grit, the Chicago personality, but basketball format, I feel like he's a good match to try and do that. and he, as far as I understand, he's also pretty pretty tight with the front office and ownership, and so that is something that has a lot of a lot of importance when you try to factor in staying power and head coaches in the NBA, because we all know that the head coach is the most expendable position on the floor. And
Yeah,
but if you can keep one for a
sometimes it's
while,
not even their fault.
yeah, if you can keep one for a while though, you build a culture. I feel like that's like an underrated step to a dynasty. Like I feel like the Warriors and the Spurs are like the two outlines that anybody should go by when trying to decide how to go about a head coaching search. You fire Mark Jackson in spite of success because you feel like he's done his job. He's got you to the point that you need to be at. You know what I mean? But is he the same guy that's going to carry you to that next level? Sometimes you got to make a decision. I don't know if Boylan is. Are you eating chips?
No, I grabbed the bag
Oh.
because my mom walked in when you were speaking. She gave me a dress shirt.
Oh.
So I was just looking at it real quick.
No, but I don't. Sorry, it's good. I don't know if Jim Boylan is a Mark Jackson or if he's a Popovich. Obviously, nobody's Popovich. You know what I mean? But do you envision him as a guy that's going to stick around for as long as there is any amount of success, or do you see him as a guy to lay out a foundation for whatever the future holds?
I mean, going back on what you said about Tom Thibodeau type, he's already got the yell. So,
Arse!
I fucking love the fucking Timberwolves. I'm going off topic for a second, but the Timberwolves Bulls games, and you just hear them yelling back and forth. It was the best thing to watch ever.
I swear we should mic up coaches just to just let the broadcast booth decide, out in the truck, decide when to play the coaches' voices mid game and when not to. That'd just be a fun little extra job for somebody to have.
But that's really tough though, because I could see him sticking around for a long time, but because of his success with past teams, he worked with Thibodeau. He was with the Rockets, I think, when they went back to back. I'm pretty sure he was there too. And I want to say he was with the Celtics, but I'm not sure. But I could definitely see him being taking all those things he got from being an assistant coach and putting them together to make an amazing head coach.
Mm-hmm.
But I could also see him getting fired or stepping down once we're at a solid position. But I hope the best for him, honestly. I don't want to see anybody fail in this organization. I just want to see everybody succeed in the league, and so I hope he sticks around.
Hell yeah, man. Well, word. Do you have any words that you would like to use to try to plug yourself and Sam and your show and all of that? I would normally offer to do it, but in my limited experience, it's easier to just ask you to promote yourself.
No, I completely understand. Well, our Twitter is called Dish the Rock Cast, and we have 2 episodes, and it took a really long time to get those episodes out because the first one, Sam never edited. Ooh, that was low-key a bad voice crack, but Sam never edited it with Rusty. So then him and I recorded an episode. Fuck that up because I dropped my laptop and it paused the audio.
Right, yeah, I highlighted that on my show. I think it was ago. That shit was funny.
That was I remember I told him all right, I can't wait to edit this. This was such an amazing podcast because the first time we read across our stuff, and I'm listening, and he says something, and it gets quiet, and then you hear me responding to something else before he asks it, and I'm like, shit, I don't know what I'm doing. So we're fucked.
No, it's okay. Nobody knows what they're doing. Everybody's winging it. There's no such thing as experts. You're not alone.
Yeah. We were doing our 3rd episode, and it just was so terrible. His call quality was awful. He left midway through to get some food. And I remember I wanted to highlight this because it was a big thing. We were making lists for our MVP, defensive player, and rookie of the year for every single team. We made a list.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I texted him about it, and I'm putting down their stats and stuff. He's like, Mike, we're the most wing it podcast ever. Chill the fuck out. Just write some names down. Because I was taking so long. I was on like the Hawks, and I was going. No, I was on the Bulls. And I was going like Atlanta, Brooklyn, Boston, and I was going like that. And he's like, "What the fuck's taking so long?" And it's because like I was analyzing their stats, looking at their best games. He's like, "We're not doing that shit. Just write down the names." But we're kind of like an easygoing podcast. We'd love to have anybody come on, and we just want to talk basketball. I love talking basketball.
Yeah, man, you and Sam are a fucking hoot for real. I've enjoyed your show, even in its limited releases. You know, of course, y'all are funny as hell on Twitter and shit.
Yeah, I love messing with him. Fucking Australian.
Yeah, so if you're listening, go ahead and search up Dish the Rock in your Apple Podcast app, because I'm sure you use a fucking iPhone, and give them a 5-star rating. If you don't use a fucking iPhone, then just go ahead and do whatever the equivalent is in whatever app you use.
Oh, by the way, I want to say like thank you on the show for like telling me what the fuck to do and how to upload the podcast, because I got this one thing I couldn't figure it out, and you like really started this podcast up by telling me how to upload it.
Yeah, man. Anchor is a pretty sick distribution platform. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm sure there's a reason Spotify just paid surely a bunch of fucking money to buy the company. So, all right. Well, I haven't slept more than an hour consecutively since the lottery party, so I'm gonna hit the sack and then go to bed. Again, follow Dish the Rock Cast on Twitter. Give him a rating. Follow me on Twitter at NBA_Rudy. This is the first show I didn't fucking plug myself at all in the beginning. That doesn't matter, though. I don't care. And you can follow Mike on Twitter at, I don't know your Twitter handle by heart.
Mike 23002300.
All right, and now pop quiz. What's Sam?
It's isn't it like swollen_knee?
Yeah, that's it. Yep. Yeah. So go follow swollen_knee and Mike 2300, and Dish the Rockcast on Twitter, and you will not regret it. And thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I just love talking basketball, and I hope to come on again soon.
Of course.
I hope we can bring you on our podcast.
Hell yeah, man. I'll be on anytime. Just ask.
Good shit.